This is Lokotz. Welcome to Living in Two Worlds right here on Facebook live stream with our partners at Be Live TV to help us do these really kind of cool things with our shows, like have more than one host. And that is what we're doing tonight because we actually have three hosts for this show. And I'm going to bring them on in a second, but I want to do a couple of housekeeping things. Like today's date. Today is Thursday, October 24th. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times, I'm so busy, I kind of forget what day of the week it is or what's on the calendar. And so it's always a good thing to kind of get reminded just once in a while, right? And what I'd like to do is ask you to please do me a favor and send the show over to a friend or someone that you think that would be enjoying the topic that we're going to be talking about, which is I'm going to say it right here, make sure I get it right, discovering the dimensions of the spiritual realm. And it's going to be one of those shows that I think is going to go down in history. So if you want to take a moment and do that, and welcome everybody who is in the live chat and who's going to be watching this by the recorded show. We really do appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And right now, I'm going to bring on my other hosts here, and we're going to get everybody introduced. Carl and Ortrun Franklin.
Yay. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Glad you're with us. Glad we can be with you, too.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn it over to Ortrun and Carl, and so they can help you understand what we're going to be talking about tonight while I go and share the show out.
Okay.
The question realm, and there is no definitive answer to that because it depends what you include in it. I would like to talk mostly this evening about the spirit realm here on planet Earth. But the astrophysicists tell us that with our five senses, we are only aware of 4% of the universe. 96% is at a higher vibration beyond the range of our five senses. And because there are beings there, we believe, fine, they would be the same. They can be referred to as spirit beings because they're there, they have a intelligence, etc., but we are not aware of them through our five senses. I don't want to talk about that so much, but there are several types of spirit beings here on the earth that play a tremendous impact on us that live on the earth. And I believe that this is true for all physical planets that we can see and the life forms that are on them. So what are these two major life forms on the earth? Well, the most noted one are the angels. But the largest one by far are the divas. Now, a diva it has another name, nature spirits. And we believe and experience that for every life form, there are divas. And each of the divas for each life form are unique for that life form. And the biologists tell us that there are between 1 and 2 million different life forms on the planet, which means that we have 1 or 2 million different kinds of divas. So there is a vast, vast variety of them. And the angels, we know that there are many different kinds of angels. Pictorially, we picture two kinds. We picture the angels with wings and the angels without wings. But based on personal experience and channeled information, we know that the angels that we primarily experience are created by the lower level archangels. We know that there are higher level archangels, and how many levels? Don't know. But I expect that it's somewhere maybe between a dozen and 100 different levels. And each angel, each archangel creates its own angelic family. So and each family is as perhaps unique as our families are here on the earth. None of them are exactly alike, but yet they may share many things in common. So I want to talk about the Divas first because they play, I believe, the major role here. And when I say Divas, I want to spell it for you because there are two words that sound the same, but there's one letter difference in their spelling and a vast difference in their nature. Diva, this is a saucy lady, usually a lady that tries to entice men, all right? And we're not talking about that kind as much as I might like. Anyway, the other kind is Deva, and these are as I said, the nature spirits, and there are probably 1 to 2 million different kinds. Now, I want to share with you an idea. I can't tell you it's the truth, but it's a concept that I'm comfortable with, and you may be too, or you may want to change it or totally reject it. The Bible starts off by saying, in the beginning was the Word. And this was, the implication is it's the Word of God. And out of the Word came creation. Now, the Word, or a word, is a thought expressed. And we know from the physicists that everything that's mineral or physical is made out of energy, all right? And if everything originated out of thought, and thought took on form, well, it didn't take on from word to physical form. It is my belief that the thought or the word took on a spiritual form, which is a higher vibration and less dense. And with that physical form, that form became the foundation for the physical form that was then built on top of it. There is, in my belief pattern, a spiritual basis, a spiritual foundation for everything that exists in the physical world. And you can take that, the spiritual energy, the energy that manifests as spirit, and lower that vibration, and it comes into physical form. So the interesting thought here is, if that is the way creation works, we have the ability to think, we have the ability to envision, we have the ability to create. If we take a word, an idea, a concept, and we feed it enough appropriate energy, and the energy is usually in the emotional realm, emotions empower thought, we are then creating on the spirit level. And if we continue and we draw in what is necessary to have it manifest in the physical form, it comes into the realm of our 5 senses, into the realm of the physical world. Now, I want to toy with an idea with you, and I'm going to say I've not experienced this, but I do believe it's a possibility. If we have something that is in the physical world and we become dissatisfied with it, we can envision it in an improved form. And if working through the subconscious mind, working with the spirit foundation of whatever it is we're dealing with, if we alter with thought and emotion that spirit foundation, that should also alter the physical reality. That the potential of that is absolutely mind-boggling. And I'm wondering if we don't have some examples of that actually happening. The thought comes to mind, Jesus feeding the 5,000. He had the lunch of a young boy, and he was able to multiply that so that not only did it feed 5,000 people, but they collected baskets of food that were left over. All right. Now, how did he do that? Well, if he talked to the spirit basis of that food, the bread and meat or fruit or whatever was involved here, if he talked, communicated with the spirit basis and simply said, multiply, and envisioned that happening, felt that happening, that's very possibly the way he accomplished that. And the same thing with the miracles, with the healings, with the quieting the wind and the waves. He dealt, I believe, with the spirit realm of that, which then manifested in the physical realm. And my own experience in dealing with a Hurricane Irma in 2017, I was working with the Divas, and I asked the Divas to slow down the wind. And because the winds were going to be extraordinarily destructive when it hit Naples, Florida. And when I asked that, it was an hour away from Naples in a force 5, 185 mile an hour winds. And when it landed, it was down to a force 4, 135 mile an hour winds. And by the time it got halfway up the state, it was down to a tropical storm, when all of the predictions were it would go up the entire peninsula of Florida with a hurricane status. Okay? So if we can communicate with the Divas, who are the spirit beings, and I'm going to say the spirit energy out of which things are created, we can modify what is, and we should be able to create what they call ex nihilo, which means creating out of nothing, and which is what in the beginning was the word, all right? Before the word was the thought. So by having simply the thought and working with the Divas to build the foundation on that level, and then lowering the frequency of the energy coming in. It isn't that we're changing the Divas or the spiritual foundation. It's that we're calling in energy of a lower nature, of a lower vibration, to take on that physical form. And if we learn to do this, we will then be able to do all that Jesus did and even greater. All right? So that's the potential that I see all of us to have by working hand in hand with the spirit realm. All right? Let's pause here and open it for comments or questions.
Well, it's like, holy smokes, is, I know, right? I mean, I get really enthusiastic about these kinds of conversations, but you're right. We need to be able to understand it in our everyday life, right?
Yes.
Right. And I think that we can agree upon that. We know that when we say our prayers or when we do our manifesting, that we know that we're sending it out into the universe, asking for assistance with it, right? I think that everybody that's in the live chat, hi, I'm going to start showing your names and your comments in a second. I think that we can all agree upon that. I think what we end up doing is not necessarily being aware of where are we sending it and who are we sending it to. And that's what Carl's really sharing with us, is that piece to help us understand how it really affects our everyday life. And I have to say, Carl, when you use the example of Jesus feeding the multitudes, right? My mom just used that same, similar, I should say, statement yesterday. She was talking to two gentlemen who came to visit her yesterday from our nation, from the Prairie Potawatomi Nation. Our president and one of the elected officials came to visit her, and it was a kind of a big deal, really. But they both belong to a religion, a Native American religion that my grandfather belonged to. And so my mom was talking to them about it, and she said, "Did you ever notice that whenever we have feasts, whenever we bring people together to have special dinners together, because there's ceremony involved with it and the whole thing." And she goes, "Did you ever notice we never run out of food, no matter how many people show up?" And they both agreed, because it's true. We have never, ever run out of food. In fact, we've always had food left over. Yeah. So, that's something that I've actually seen it. I've been participating in that. And it's true, because all of those people who are cooking the food and bringing the food in, they all know what it's for. And so they're saying prayers for it. And so they're in their heart when they're doing this. So I'm going to turn it over to Paul's here. I'm going to turn it over to Ortrun. Okay.
Wow. Well, of course, because I very much have cooked many, many times in my life, and I really do believe that when you are doing that, you are changing the elements in food. Especially that's the way I feel. I feel that you can taste a difference. So I feel like I've always cooked with love, and I think that's what you're talking about also with these people when they come together, these group of individuals. So that by utilizing love, that vibration of love that's in your heart, and it's so automatic that automatically it's as though internally you're told, okay, there's some more people coming. I think these messages come back to you. So you're communicating with spirit the whole time that you're actually participating in the preparation process of it. So, and we do that all the time, no matter what we are doing. If we are in alignment, I'm working on my article still today that I'm going to be doing for the magazine, and basically it's going to be on gratitude, living in gratitude. If we bring that essence of gratitude, which really is love and expression, if we bring that into our everyday life, we are always going to be communicating where it is that we're meant to communicate, how we're meant to communicate. It will help us to live more beautifully, more prosperously. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to think about and do on a daily basis, is to bring forth in our day right in the morning when we say our prayers in the morning, is to live in that space of gratitude all day long. Then you are in tune with spirit all day long. And Carl has something.
Yeah, I just had a flash of insight here with the gratitude. Gratitude is giving thanks for what you have. And it seems to me that gratitude would be a very, very powerful way to multiply what you have, because of your gratitude, you're going to attract more of it to you.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm finding that there's really a difference between thanks and gratitude. I think gratitude is a higher level of thanksgiving.
Yes, I would agree.
So you're bringing in that vibration, a higher vibration of love and understanding, and the knowing that we are connected. Because when we are living in gratitude, we are truly connecting not only with the person sitting next to us, but we're connecting with all of the elements, whether it is food preparation or whether it is that we're out, picking flowers. It's that we're communicating constantly because we're loving.
We're communicating with the source.
with the source, right?
Yeah.
We communicate with the source, but source is that divine essence that is within all of those different aspects, no matter what it is. It can be anything, any way that you look at it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a wonderful way, of communicating. Carl, I think he was going to be talking about, are you talking about different levels of divas, or what is it that you were focusing in on when you started this? Because I sort of got lost. There was so much going on in what you were saying.
Okay. There 1 to 2 million different life forms, and the divas for each life form are somewhat different for each life form. Yes. They're creating a different spirit foundation, which allows for a different or unique life form. So I think we have the ability to communicate with all kinds of divas. And it's best to do it in the meditative state, working out of your subconscious and conscious mind, and realize that divas can communicate with you too. So let your communication with them be a dialogue rather than just a monologue. And the more specific you are, if you're dealing with just a wild example, if you're dealing with your tomato plants, all right, then you want to address the divas of those tomato plants, all right? Be specific. The thing that bothers me about prayer is that you pray to God. Well, everything is God, so it's scattered. But if you can focus your prayer by focusing it on an individual species of divas, for example, or a specific type of angel that you want to work with or that you need help from, I think it's a lot more effective that way. Yeah. And that way it can be a dialogue. But with prayer, there's no dialogue, because you're throwing it out to the universe, and the universe doesn't speak. It's individual aspects of the universe that actually function and do the work and that can communicate back with you.
Yeah. Now, guys, doesn't that make so much sense? I think that makes so much sense, that because really what we're doing is we're communicating clearer, right? And addressing the focus that we have. It would be like going into a room and just talking out in general when you're really wanting to talk to two people that are in the room, but you're because that doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah, and one of the things it reminded me of, Patty Heredia, who is one of our contributing writers for the magazine, and she's also one of our show hosts. She was writing about connecting with our food, and that because she was raised on a farm, right? And so she really believed from a young age that the food that we grow, we connect with it. And the food actually grows in order to be able to help us specifically in giving the nutrients that we specifically need. Not everybody, but specifically the family that's there. And so she says that we can still do that even if we buy our food at a farmer's market or even the grocery store. It's when we're washing the food or preparing the food is to actually talk to the food.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we have our hands on the food. And so the food starts to change spiritually to match our vibration and help us whatever we're asking it to do.
Right. And one of the things that Carl and I do with our food is even after it's prepared, we bless it. And we have our different ways of blessing it. But basically it's, for me, it's, the light that flows through these hands transform this food that is perfect for me. So that's very short. Carl's a little bit longer with what you say, right, Carl?
Yes.
But the thing of it is that you can share with them what you.
I don't have a pat one. It isn't a road thing. Each one is somewhat unique. But in essence, I'm sending energy into the food coming from my hands, and asking that the food be made perfect to nourish and energize my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now asking that the food and my body be filled with Christ consciousness energy,
Mm. Yeah.
which raises the vibration of the food, which will then help support a higher vibration within me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I end by with just a real feeling of gratitude, thanking the Divas, thanking Mother Earth.
Well, you can certainly feel the energies going through your hand and even through your body, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
vibrate through you when you do that kind of a little,
Mm-hmm.
well, just a little gesture. That's really what it is gesture,
Right.
recognizing the beauty of it all, of what they're sharing with us.
And really that, you know, what this really boils down to is we talk about being conscious in your life all the time, but this is specifics. This is pragmatic, that we're talking about, living your life consciously. Right. And so we have a couple of comments here I would like to show. Julie's here. She says, I love that story about Jesus with the fish and loaves. It's an archetypal story about Pisces and Virgo healing and service to Virgo. That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Angie says, I communicate with the animals and trees around me all the time. I also listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Jocelyn just joined us. Hello, Jocelyn.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Yeah. So I really get that piece, Carl, about that communication, specific communication with, whether it's the trees, the plants, the food. It really is a direct line of communication.
Now, in your Indian heritage, is there any parallel or example of this?
All the time.
Okay.
I've got two really good ones. I have two really good ones, one for me and one for my mom. One of the things that she taught me from little on, because I used to help her space clear the house. It's house blessing, right? I started physically helping her when I was 13. And so one of the things that she taught me to do was that it was the most important piece was to be in your heart. But more importantly, it was to connect with the spirit of the cedar that we were using and connecting and asking the cedar to be a part of it and to help us. Right.
Well, why
and then
cedar?
Cedar? Well, that's what Native Americans east of the Mississippi, that's what we primarily used. The Native Americans west of the Mississippi primarily used white sage. It does basically the same thing.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and so it's using what we live around, or what lives with us, really. And so it was the connecting to the spirit of the cedar. And that's how I've taught all of my classes whenever I've taught space clearing, because that's a step that a lot of people don't know about or didn't know about. And the other one that my mother still does, even though it's essential oils, and even over-the-counter medication, she connects to the spirit of that medication, whether it's essential oils or not, the nature spirits, if you will. That's not what she calls them, of the essential oils, and asking them for their assistance, their help, in making her pain go away, or to lessen, or to help her sleep. And the other one is the over-the-counter. Most people wouldn't even think about this one. But she says that even though it's a chemical, it was made by someone.
Right.
It was made by someone. And so she's asking that that medication, whether it's aspirin or Mylanta, is that it be the blessings of it be raised to what she needs it for, to the highest level.
Boy, she's right on. We're in full agreement with that.
Yeah. Exactly. She wouldn't necessarily use the vocabulary words that we're using, but in essence, that's exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay. So Carl, we're speaking about the Davic realm and of the different levels, but now there there are many dimensions that we have here in our own realm, right? We have, the third dimension, we're the third dimensional realm, and the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Now there are what, 11 or 12 dimensions in the universe, right?
There are 11 dimensions in the universe, and they're not only different dimensions, but in the third, fourth, fifth dimension that we live in, there are many different forms of energy. And within our own body, we have different forms of energy. Our physical body is made out of electromagnetic energy that's condensed down into a mineral, it's gaseous, liquid, and mineral. But our thoughts are made out of etheric energy. Our emotions are made out of a different frequency of etheric energy. And when we leave this physical body, it's our mental, emotional, and soul bodies that leave. The soul body is made out of yet a different, higher frequency of energy. And are there divas for each of in these different levels of energy? I suspect that there are, but we're not aware of them because we don't see in those dimensions while we're in the physical body. We will be able to see in the etheric level, for example, when we're in our etheric body, which is our mental, emotional, and soul body. So, which is made out of those energies. So anyway, to me, it's an extraordinarily complex arena, and to come up with some definitions it's not been done yet.
Yeah, there's not very many vocabulary words, language.
Right.
Yes.
To frame it.
Right. We only name things that are perceptible to one of the five senses.
Right.
So we're functioning beyond the five senses, although in the alpha state, our range is greatly expanded, and we can become aware of that is way beyond the five senses.
Right. Except when we get to the point of wanting to share it with somebody or explain it, and then we're lost for words. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Right. I hate to interrupt this, but I think I really have to refresh my screen because your video is really kind of pixelated. And so, yeah, I'm just going to refresh my screen and make sure that it still works. Okay. So, okay, audience, we'll be gone just for a second and we'll be right back. Okay. All right, here we go. There, that didn't take long, but it didn't do anything.
Oh, well.
Well, I don't know. I guess it looks a little bit better on my phone anyway. In the studio, you're still a little pixelated, but we're gonna go with it. I don't want to, stretch that too far. But we do have a comment here from Robert. Robert is saying, I've actually heard rabbis saying to bless the food, to bless the souls that not only gave their lives, but may also be an Adamic soul placed there as punishment.
Interesting. Well,
rectification, helping them home.
Well, certainly everything has, its purpose and its reason. And when we talk about, the food, sometimes, yes, it did go through a process, right? And this is what we consider a nice process, a great process. So blessing that food, for instance, of the chicken or maybe the venison and so on, that can eliminate some of the vibratory frequencies it took on because it also experiences fear.
Yes.
When it was, but that's what's so good about the Native American way of doing things. And also, I think it's fine if people hunt for meat and so on, but to bless it and recognize that they are giving their life.
Right, the life force. Yes.
Yeah, they're giving it so that we can be fed, so that we can be nourished. Specifically thinking about a deer driving down the road, and sometimes you can sense that that deer that's laying on the side of the road is really at peace because it was their time for them to leave this earth plane. But other times it's just there's a cringing that goes on inside of you. So there was something a little bit more traumatic there.
Yeah.
Maybe they're being chased because the hunter was going after them, and that hunter didn't have that kind vibratory frequency, and it wasn't giving them thanks for giving up their life. So maybe they're running that way and then possibly being hit by a car. Then they have a different energy that they're carrying. It was one where, as I mentioned, there could be a sense of fear or who knows what. So it's important for us to bless our food so that we can transmute that energy vibration so that it is perfect, and right for us, that it's uplifted to be of the highest essence to feed us and to nourish every part of our body.
Let me share a thought here, if I may.
Okay.
That the food that we eat is affecting the frequency of our physical body. It's not just nurturing us, but we're taking in the energy of that food. Therefore, it would behoove us to raise the frequency of the food as high as we can before we ingest it.
Yeah. So it's optimal, right? It's optimal for us personally. Yeah. And we're talking about venison and hunting and all that. And most of everybody who knows me knows that I come from a hunting family. And yet, yes, we always did ceremony before the hunt.
Right.
And especially if there was one that was harvested, there was always a ceremony done out in the woods, right?
Great, yes.
When my husband joined our family, because he's first generation German, he wasn't aware of that, right? And so actually my mother is the one who sat him down and kind of explained it to him. And then told my brothers that you can't keep sending him to the truck to get things when you do a ceremony. Let him be there for it, right? And so anyway, Paul started his own research and into what his ancestors would have done during the hunt. Now that's got to go back many generations, right?
Yes.
But he did find a ceremony where. And the Germanic tribes, what they would do is they would actually put a sprig of pine or a branch in the deer's mouth that they had just killed. And it was like feeding the deer in gratitude for the life force that was given. And they'd say a prayer. And so what Paul ended up doing was making his own ceremony that meant more to him because it connected him to his ancestors, his roots. But he also uses the tobacco as well. So I just wanted to add that just because you're not Native American doesn't mean that you don't have a way to be able to give thanks, right? To be grateful.
Right.
And I'm going to guess if you were to go back in virtually any of the ancient cultures, you would find something similar.
Because we are indigenous. Every single one of us are indigenous and tribal to some people on some continent.
Yes. So yes, and I think the further we got away from the land, the more we moved away from that recognition how intertwined we are. And then, of course, also with the whole busyness of the way we are here in the Western world, that we've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
But it's so important to focus back in. We're talking about food quite a bit tonight, actually.
Yeah.
But and also about plants, vegetation. Certainly, I communicate with my plants. I love them, and and they know I love them, and they feel that, and I, in return, feel what they're doing for me because they're certainly responding to me, in that way.
Yeah.
But also, we can tell, for instance, the rabbits. Everyone complains about the rabbits around here, and I tell my rabbits, I said, okay, I don't mind sharing with you, but just don't make my garden look terrible. That's the way I communicate with them. Right. And I never have a problem with the rabbits.
Yeah.
My neighbors, oh my gosh, they're eating everything up. Well, they're not mine, but it's just having that little bit of sense. It sounds a little, in a sense, it sounds corny, maybe, but it's not. We are acknowledging them, and just by acknowledging them, they really respond to the love that we have, for them, and the respect that we're showing them. So communicating, with any, as Carl said, life form, and there are so many of them.
There's so many.
Yeah, I mean, you stop and think about your physical body. How many vibratory frequencies are there in your physical body? I mean, with all the nerves that you have there, and the joints that you have, and the circulatory system, your skin, all of the vibrations is different everywhere. I mean, it's all through your entirety.
Right.
Everything is, and they're all humming. Hopefully they're humming together.
Yeah, working together.
Yeah, and I think it was, I don't even know which article I was writing, but where I was, saying that we are very very separated within ourselves. We have so many dimensions within us, and we are so very divided. I was talking, I think, a little about Isis and Osiris, the story of the brothers and sisters, how they were divided because Osiris and Isis, they were the rulers of Upper Egypt, which represents our higher essences, and then Set and Thetis, they were ruling what we consider the lower, but basically it was the ones that ground us to the earth plane. But and then there is that how we have to bring ourselves together in that manner. But that's not the only thing. We have all of these different bodies: physical, mental, emotional, auric, astral, soul, Christed body, all these different bodies that are also out here. We've got all the different, energy centers within us, the main chakras, and masculine and feminine energies, the right, left brain, all the separation that is in us alone. If we learn to communicate and bring all of those parts of us into harmony, I mean, that is an amazing thing.
Right.
And we can do it, but we have to even recognize that there are so many different aspects of us and parts to us to begin with before we can even start to realize, oh, wow, yeah, no wonder we're jumping all over the place, because we have so many different things going on within us all the time. And that's why, again, as Carl said, that the meditation is so important, because that draws ourselves together, every part of ourselves together, so that we can really hum along. We're just really running smoothly if we do that.
Right. And I mean, we're here on the earth plane, and it is a school about polarity, but I think it's our walk here, those life lessons and everything that we go through, is all about the unification on all the levels,
right,
and all the layers, right? Yeah, because just thinking about our physical body, it's amazing how everything works together, when it works together, how good it can be, right? We got a couple more comments here I'd like to share. Angie is saying that she uses both cedar and I think she means sweetgrass to cleanse, although sweethearts might be good work too. Julie is saying, beautiful talk tonight. Gratitude changes the alchemy of the food we eat, and communicating with the devas of everything. Love this.
Yeah. Well, just within our own bodies, how many different kinds of divas do you think we have? I suspect that it's probably in the hundreds.
Oh, I think it's more than that.
More than that.
Anyway, it's a vast, different in terms of different types. Now, how many divas are in our body? I don't know. But I would be surprised if it isn't in the thousands, the tens of thousands. All right. So if you want to change something in your body, talk to the divas that control that part of your body, and change as they bring about the change on the spirit foundation level. Is going to change that is manifest as physical organs and nerves and blood cells and so on. So by working by literally living in the two worlds that is the title of this series of programs. It gives us so much more power and control. It allows us to develop our potential so much more fully, and just to live a richer, healthier, happier, more productive life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, it reminds me of something that happened. I want to say it was in 2006 or 7. We had just moved here, and just outside of our bedroom is it's a bush. And I scared a cardinal, and it scared me because I opened the windows in the evening and didn't know there was a nest there, right? And so she ended up laying eggs, and I was watching every day, taking pictures through the window. And one of the pictures that I took, it was after the eggs had hatched. I had taken a picture, and the mother was sitting in the nest, and the picture that I took was really out of focus because it actually tried to pick up the screen, the lens, to the window instead. But what we saw in that picture when it was so out of focus is you could actually see a little light being. You could see the shape, see its face right next to the mother cardinal.
Isn't that wonderful? What
I know.
a gift.
Yes.
Oh, right. So for me, that was more than just confirmation. They literally showed themselves.
Uh-huh.
Right. Wouldn't it be neat if we had cameras that were able to photograph the spirit realm around us?
Yeah.
What an education that would be for all of us.
Yeah. You know, I know that a lot of people capture orbs, on their photos. And that is a part of that because they're capturing the brilliance, the shine of that, the spark of that soul, of that spirit. But yeah, to actually have a camera like the game cameras, I mean, I'm always hoping we're going to catch something on one of the game cameras we have set up in the backyard. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. My son, our son, he has that set up also. And some of the beautiful the animals and so on that, you can see them, walking around, and the birds, the owls, all kinds of things. It's just amazing, the activity that's going on out there when you don't even know what's actually, going on out there.
Oh my gosh.
But, we have that ability to tune in, even you talk about the nature spirits. For instance, you can look at a tree and sometimes it looks like there's a face there's, sort of smiling at you.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. I mean, really and truly, I believe they will manifest themselves, in ways that you can actually see them there, and if you tell someone, they think, oh, come on, you're kidding me. But you can pick that up. You can pick up, a quirky smile, because they like to be a little bit playful. So many of the elementals and the nature spirits, they really do like to be, comical and have fun with you. So, but the thing is for us to feel, trust that we can see them. I think trust is such an important thing as far as being able to tune into whatever level that it is that you're tuning in to, whether it is that feeling level. Sometimes just holding something in your hand, and you can feel it in your hand. You can feel the energy in your hand, but sometimes you can feel it throughout your entire body. It's just flowing through your entire body already. So there's life energy all over the place, and we can all tune in into that. However it is that we are able to, those of us that are more empaths, we feel it energy wise, but then the others can actually see those nature spirits, so we have different ways of tuning in, and really the importance of our allowing ourselves to be able to to sense and to feel and really feel that yes, this is a reality, and we can be part of this.
Right. Angie is saying that she says, I've seen orbs and trees glow. I think she means at night. I've seen fairies. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just, if more of us were more aware that the world we live in is not just physical,
Right.
but it literally is multidimensional.
Yes.
And if we work on expanding our consciousness, and I'm going to say expanding the range of what we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch,
Mm-hmm.
and also feel emotionally. The more aware that we are of all of these unseen beings around us, the more apt we are to begin to communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they feel honored if we were to ask for their help, because in comparison, we have so much more, I'm going to call it God essence in us than they have. We are literally, as humans, the gods on the surface of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to recognize them is a real honor. They just deeply appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And to let them know that they have things that they can do that will help us that we can't do.
Right. That we can do together, that co-creation.
Yes.
So here's Minnie. Oops, I'm sorry. Minnie says, I do believe the nature divas show themselves to us if we look for them.
Definitely. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. When you tune into them.
Nice seeing you here.
Yeah.
It's nice having you.
Yeah, Minnie in the house. And Jocelyn says, my nature spirits make themselves present. I see them flying, flashing, swirling around me. I catch them on a picture. Yeah.
That's great.
See, how blessed, to be able to do that. And certainly it happens to all of us. We may not even be aware of it. It does happen. Every once in a while, we might just take like a glimpse and say, oh, wow, look at that. What was that? And that's what they were doing. They were flashing their little bit of light, and showing themselves to us.
I think that people that are sensitives are more prone to have these experiences.
Yes.
I'm sad to say, on one hand, I'm sad to say I'm not as sensitive, but some phenomena are happening. I look out the window and I see it looks like a fine mist, but it isn't mist. The ground isn't getting wet. I'm seeing the energy of the air. And I'm going to have to say it would be like little specks of light.
Yeah.
And
I remember when he and I would be out in our boat together, and I'd say, Carl, can you see all that activity going on? Because I saw those specks of light and those energy divas, they were really more the sky divas and the water divas. Yeah. And at that point in time, he said no. So that's really great to hear that he's starting to see and experience that now. So
it must be all that meditation you do, Carl.
Yeah.
Or it's simply the advent of old age too.
But also, looking at the trees and then seeing that outline, all of a sudden the pop of and the aura of the trees will pop out. There they are. Wow. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen.
Right.
Yeah. And the more we trust that we can experience those things, the more they happen for us.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I totally agree. We're nearing the top of the hour, and I want to make sure that we have enough time here for us to share about where and what are you guys offering for classes, and where do they go to find out more about it?
Well, of course, go to our website, ourspiritualascension.com. So that's usually has our schedule of what we're doing. And the main things that we're doing are we have our mystery school here at our home every third Thursday of the month. So that's, people are welcome, of course, to come to that are in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. And then, of course, we're doing the shows with you. And then we've been doing quite a few services at various churches. Carl and I will actually be again. We just were there recently, but this time, I think the 3rd of November, he'll be speaking at Unity on Walker Street in Grand Rapids, and I will be speaking there the following Sunday. So that's what's coming up soon, quite soon. So it's always changing. And when we're in Florida, we will be at Sun City Center. So the best place really to go is to our website to see what's going on.
We do personal services for individuals.
Right.
Ortrun was chakra opening and balancing.
It's deeper than that. It's really healing. It's really going into a very, very deep level. And it's not only, the 7 chakras that we usually speak of as chakras, the secondary, the sub chakras. I mean, we have 144,000 chakras in all of our different bodies. So, and it also and deeper, where it's past lives and going more to the soul level of expression, to balancing everything else. So it's because I know people talk about chakra balancing as they do it quick, it's 2 seconds, and they feel the chakras are balanced, but it's much deeper than that. It's really more of a healing session.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that you have a lot of your meditations are on CDs.
Yes. We have those.
Yeah.
And they're also available there too.
Yes.
And I wrote a book.
Right. He has his book.
The book's there too.
Yeah. Earth's Ascension was subtitled as Nibiru and the Spirit Realm.
Right.
And the interesting thing about the book, I thought I was done when I was writing. And they said, nope, have to add another chapter.
Yeah.
And they wanted a chapter on the Divas.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
To be honest with you, I knew very, very little about divas. So I just got into a meditative state, and they dictated that chapter, and it ends up being the longest chapter in the book.
I'm so glad you co-created that, because it's got a lot of good information in it.
Right. And then I'm supposed to be coming out with a book quite soon, right, Neshi?
Yes. In fact, the cover of Ortrun's book was just finalized, and I have the actual front cover now so that we can start sharing it. The key of life, right? The key, not the key of life, it's key of life.
Key of life. It's key of life,
and
integrating ancient truths into the modern world.
Right.
So
we're hoping to have that published by the end of November, beginning of December. So just in time, if you guys want to have Christmas gifts, tell your kids you want that book for Christmas.
Yes.
But there's one other service that I offer that I would wish I were doing more of. I've done about 3,000 people over the last 25 years. It's called the life script reading.
Yes.
And there's so much information in there that it needs to be recorded. But we find out what form you were in before you took on human form, who's in your spirit family, how much time you spend in the 3rd, 4th, 5th levels of consciousness, what your IQ is, how much crystal and indigo energy you have, and things like that. Then we go into the Akashic record. What's your purpose for being here? What are you here to learn? What service are you here to give? We end with a very, very powerful initiation.
Yes.
And most people, their life, they're significantly changed with the hour that it takes to do that.
And if you haven't had it done, my suggestion is to experience it, because there's so much information that Carl provides that you're going to have many aha moments in that. And Carl, I have a question for you regarding that, because at my life script you had done for me, I want to say it was maybe 2013. What if you've already had one done? Would you have other information if I had a second one done?
I wouldn't suggest the second one. What I would suggest is you formulate a list of questions that you want answers to.
Okay.
And let's talk, and we can do all this by telephone.
Okay. And that is also a service that you'd provide for others who've already had their life
Yeah.
script done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad I asked. Hey, we have another statement here. Karen says, Carl's Alpha State Meditation CD and Ortrun Stairway to Higher Ascension CD are wonderful.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And so what do I have going on? I have one more in-person class this year to go. That's on the weekend of November 15th through the 17th. And that is called Journey to Remembering. And it's all about balancing the head and heart so that you can remember what it's like to receive and to give unconditional love. And what happens, the culmination of that whole weekend is all about activating your Merkaba in an organic way from both the balance between your head and your heart. So that weekend, we were almost ready to close that class because we have enough people to do the special healing that we do on Saturday. But I have a friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while. I was actually her teacher mentor back in 2014, and her name's Karen. She lives in the Chicago area. She contacted me to say, I would really love to see you and assist. Can I come up? And so Karen's coming up. And with Karen being here, we can take 5 more people. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So if you're interested, I'm going to put the information, the website in the comments. So if you're interested, contact us and we'll get you set up. So, it's only good that we only have 24 hours in a day because we get a lot done, don't we?
Well, yes. Yes, we keep busy, all of us. I think everyone that comes here to this beautiful gathering, we're all busy people. We've got lots to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're at a little bit past the top of the hour. Final words for our audience from you? Carl, can you let us off? You want to do the first?
Get to know your divas. Get to know the spirit beings that are working with you. Communicate daily in meditation with your spirit family. And please, they can't help unless you ask. So ask for what you need. And if you want information, they will often answer your questions. So.
Well, getting to know the spirit realm is an amazing journey. And Carl and I, we've been in the metaphysical arena together for over 40 years. And the one thing I can always say is that this is not a boring way of life because there is so much that is new. Yeah. There's just always something else that's coming into your being, into your consciousness. So allow yourself to continue to expand that way. It's very, very exciting. And I mentioned gratitude early, and be very grateful for where you're at and, where you are at this point in your life, because you have gone through many, many steps to get here to where it is that you are right now.
Yeah.
And you will experience many more steps because it's unending. It's unending. We're that reflection, of the divine. And with all the different dimensions of, and all the different universes and all that there is, it's a wonderful, exciting journey.
Yes.
Yeah, it certainly is. Thank you. Thank you both. My final words, mine is, I'm just going to call it a nugget that I got tonight that I want to reiterate. I want to say it again, is that it was something that Carl said about communication. And it was one of those light bulb moments that I think that we can all take away. And that is when we are talking to our spiritual team or our spiritual family, I would like to say that we all have divas and elementals in those groups for us. And that when we're making those requests, those prayers, setting those intentions, the manifesting, is that we really talk directly to those on our spiritual committees, our spiritual families, to let them know that we are addressing you. I want to have this conversation with you to help me do such and such. And for me, Carl and Ortrun, that was the biggest nugget that I took away from this evening.
And you don't need to know their name.
No, you don't.
The function that they play.
Right. So audience, make plans, have a conversation with the devas and elementals that are on your spiritual team, your spiritual family, and let us know. Let us know how that goes for you, because we'd be so interested in that.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm so thrilled that we had a chance to be together again. And please pass on the show that you participate in tonight. And yes, and thank you so much for being part of it and sharing your energies.
One last thought. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And Halloween, too. Don't forget Halloween.
I know. Wait a minute. Where
Am I
are we?
ahead of myself
I
here?
think you are.
Right, you're just looking forward to Thanksgiving. That's what you are. Yeah.
I didn't think we'd have a program before Thanksgiving, will we?
We can have it on another day, or we can pre-record it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we can talk about that offline.
Yeah.
So really, no, honestly, we should be wishing everybody a happy Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Samhain, Dia de Muertos, Day of the Dead, and also All Saints Day, right?
Yes.
Those are all coming up.
They're all coming up.
Yeah.
They're all coming up. So with that, thank you everybody for joining us this evening, and we'll see you back here in November for Living in Two Worlds. We'll let you know if we're going to be having it on a special night, or if we're going to be offering a pre-recorded show. Okay, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks for being